Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Musalam. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Placer County Sheriff's Office. I want to thank everybody here for joining us tonight. I also want to thank the Rec Center for allowing us to use their facilities during this extremely challenging time. We'd also like to thank Nevada County Supervisor Hardy Bullock for being with us here tonight. This is a joint incident, unified incident search for Kylie Rodney, and so we're extremely grateful to be working with multiple agencies, including the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the California Highway Patrol, and the Truckee Police Department. I'd like to now introduce our Placer County Sheriff, Wayne Wu, for a few words.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. On behalf of Sheriff Moon from Nevada County, we can't thank you enough. You know, the Tahoe Truckee community is a very close-knit, special place, and I think it's evident what a special community this is with the outpouring of support that we've received thus far in our search to find Kylie. You know, when this started, Sheriff Moon and I both dedicated every resource possible that we had at our disposal to try to find Kylie, and we will continue to do so. In my 32-year law enforcement career, I can honestly say I have never seen the amount of resources poured into a single investigation like came into this community and has been searching here since last weekend. I think today we eclipsed over 5,000 man-hours of investigative work and search and rescue in order to try to find Kylie and make sure we bring her home. So thank you so much for being here. We're going to need this community's help moving forward. We're going to need your support. The family's going to need your support. And I can assure you on behalf of Sheriff Moon and I, we will continue to dedicate the resources at our disposal to get to the bottom of this and try to bring Kylie home. So I want to thank all of our partners that have helped us out thus far, from state, federal, and local agencies. It's just been amazing. So with that, I'll turn it over back to Angela, and thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate your support.
I'd like to now introduce Behavioral Health Director Phoebe Bell for a few words.
Hi, all. I'm sorry that we have to be here together today, and as always, I'm glad that we are together, and that is what we do best in this community, wrapping around each other. And to that end, I know we're here because most of all, we want information. We desperately want information, and we want to help. We desperately want to help. But I just want to remind you all that part of helping is taking care of yourselves and each other. And this is a really trying time. It's incredibly anxiety-provoking, a lot of fear, grief, anxiety, and we really need to do self-care, do care for each other. I want to let you know about some resources that are out there if you need them. A great variety of community partners have come together to make sure that we have mental health support on site here at the Rec Center every day from 10 to 4. Drop by anytime, tell somebody, can I have a 5-minute walk with you? I just need to vent for a minute. Whatever you need to do, use that resource. It's there for all of you, for all of us. In addition, there's some resource sheets with information about crisis lines and other sources of support you can use. And then also Gateway Mountain Center is opening their teen center every afternoon for anybody that wants to drop by, any other people that want to drop by. We are doing a phenomenal job of caring for each other, but it's so critical. It's how we're going to get through this, is leaning into each other and leaning into the love we all feel for Kylie and for each other. So take care, one and all.
I'd like to turn it over next to our Hospital Sheriff's Lieutenant Josh Bauer. He will be discussing more on the investigation thus far.
Good evening, everyone. I'm currently assigned to investigations as a lieutenant in our main office in Auburn. And like the sheriff said, the outpouring of support from the community and from law enforcement agencies has just been amazing to watch. And I just want to tell the family again that we're working very hard for you. We've brought the family in, we've shown them what we're doing, and hopefully they have been able to see the extent to which law enforcement and our assistance has gone to this point with the search and rescue effort, with the investigations effort, and all of the agencies involved in this. Is just amazing. We've had to tell the detectives, no, you're done for the day, you need to go home, and they've been stubborn, and they've been staying longer, working on very little sleep. Just 3 points to talk about tonight. We are continuing to collect media from every source, video, especially photos. We've even asked attendees of the party to come in that were willing to bring their phone so that we could use the data from their phones for the investigation. We've been working the extensive amount of tips that have come in, and I urge everyone to continue that effort. Make sure that you're, anything that comes up that you think of, please call that tip line. And again, you can remain anonymous if you desire. Our detectives, including the FBI, have been going door to door, collecting data, media as well, video. They've been going to residences, collecting ring camera video, anything that they can, gas stations. We've been asked, what about cameras at intersections, cameras here? Everything we're taking into consideration at this point, and we're collecting. I'll just end with 12:33 a.m. was the last known time that we have for Kylie. Anything after that, we have not been able to find. And so, please, again, we urge, we beg you, that if you were there, you know something, please come forward and give us that information so we can continue our investigation past 12:33. Thank you.
Next, you'll be hearing from Nevada County Sergeant Hack, and he's been in charge of the search and rescue effort.
I want to thank everybody for being here today. So far in our search and rescue effort, we have over 16 agencies that have worked with us. We have in the field today, again, over 100 volunteers searching. We are utilizing resources from the local, state, and federal level to help us with the search. Equipment-wise, we are searching with motorcycles, 4x4s. We are using aircraft from CHP, from Washoe County, from Placer County, and from the Office of Emergency Services. Since I talked to you yesterday, we've doubled the amount of man hours. Yesterday we were at 1,500 hours, and we are now at about 3,500 hours dedicated by volunteers in the search effort. We have partners from throughout the state who are cooperating with us remotely to assist with our mapping and our search and rescue effort. Our search area has extended as far north as Searville. To the east, we've reached all the way to Verdi. We've gone south of I-80, below Truckee, and we've reached beyond Jackson Meadows Reservoir to the west. It's a very large area, and our searchers have been putting a lot of hours in, and they're dedicated to assisting us in this search effort. That's all I have for you now.
Nevada County Sheriff's Captain Sam Brown and Placer County Sheriff's Captain Troy Sander would like to say a few words.
Good evening, and before I get into too much, I really just want to thank our partners at the Placer County Sheriff's Office. Excuse me. Being in unified command has amplified our abilities drastically, and they bring a lot to the table. We also have the Truckee Police Department, CHP, every federal, state. We've even had the Air Force. There's too many people to thank, and too many things that have gone on. This list would go on and on and on. Before I say anything, really, I guess I'm more apologetic that it's a regurgitation of all the things that we've been saying, we've been doing. We're expanding, we're working pretty hard, our folks are tired. We've had people searching from all sorts of fashions. We had people swimming in the water today, looking, searching. I've been doing this for a long time, and I've never seen an effort as large as this. I don't have as much time on as Sheriff Blue, but I have a good solid 10 years in search and rescue. Multiple day searches, all kinds of things, and I've never seen a case like this, and it is really hard to face the family and not really have good answers for you guys. So we're trying our best. Our people are exhausted, they're tired, they're showing up every day, putting a smile on their face, and really doing the best they can. What I am really appreciative of is the community support and the things that everybody's bringing to the table. We created a mapping system from some of our SAR folks. CalTopo is a huge tool that we use, and it's allowing the citizens in the area and people who are coming from way out of the area as well, because I've talked to people in the parking lot that have come from out of state in different various areas, to be able to provide some of the tracks and things that they're doing within the area. It allows us to create more mapping and show more detail and more information, and that's what we're lacking right now, is more information. And although we can't necessarily direct those sources and provide certain things, it gives us more information and more direction of where to go or where not to go. And those are all really important. And so if you haven't been by the family's trailer in the parking lot, we do have a system set up where you can help collect your tracks as well, and we can overload those with the tracks that we've done, and that's a huge help. I've been on lots of searches where it's not us that finds somebody. Sometimes it's other people that are out in the community that come across something, and they're able to report it to us and help bring the family something, hopefully something positive, and we are working extremely hard for that. I know from Sheriff Moon, I've talked to her, she's unable to even speak at the moment due to some laryngitis and things like that. I told her I'd come up here and talk on her behalf. 100% invested in this, and she wants nothing but the best, and I know if she could come up here and talk, she'd be saying all the same things, probably a little more eloquently than I can. We have support from our district supervisors, our partners and friends, Truckee PD, CHP, everything that you can think of. I've worked with Callaway-S numerous times, and they're putting no stops to the efforts and energies, as well as our CEO, who has offered up resources and things like that to help assist with moving on. When I was in the parking lot yesterday, and I know I'm going long, so I apologize, I think it was yesterday, somebody came up and said they were nervous to come and talk to us, and they were uncomfortable. And I looked at them and I said, well, why? I'm a person who can come talk to me, and I understand the uniform thing. I have 2 kids, they're young. I'm a wrestling coach down in Grass Valley. I talk to kids all day long. I hang out with kids. I've had kids call me with problems and troubles and struggles outside of the law enforcement realm. I get that media has been pretty harsh on law enforcement. We feel greatly supported in Nevada County, and I know Placer County feels the same. The only thing I would say is I would encourage kids to come up, engage us, talk to us. I don't even have to talk about what's going on, but maybe that leads into something you might know, something you feel comfortable about. And just, I would encourage you to share or be forthcoming, because we need information. We're getting to the point where I don't know how to move forward without more information. And the family's been great. We appreciate you guys, and thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Troy Sander, Placer Sheriff, on behalf of Sheriff Wu and Under Sheriff Wright. We feel the pain, we see the faces, everything you feel as parents, everything you're going through as friends and family, we also feel it with you. We have one mission, we have one team, and we have one cause. And we're not gonna stop. We're gonna keep going forward. We have a great working relationship with our partners, Truckee PD, CHP, FBI, Nevada County Sheriff's Office. I couldn't ask for a better group of people. And we're gonna keep the pedal to the metal. And as I said yesterday to everybody that's out there, if you have to ask yourself the question, should you come forward with some information, you've already answered it. No piece of information is too small. It matters to us, it matters to the family, it matters to the cause. So with that, I close by saying, stay optimistic. Don't let it beat you. You gotta fight through it. We're fighting for you. You gotta stay optimistic. This community is great. Be with this family. Have their back. Thank you.
We'd like to now open up the portion of this meeting to Q&A, and we will direct questions to the appropriate individual to answer. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, so for the people who've been out physically searching the forest, in the area, it's now been blocked off, right? Like, we're not supposed to go out and look in the bushes?
Clarification on blocked off area.
Okay. So for people who were on foot, going into some of the areas like the little coves around Polka and, local areas that we like to hang out at and kind of investigating there, am I clear that we're not being asked to go and do that anymore? We're being asked to leave the space so that the law enforcement can do their job, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'll answer that. The question is, in case I don't know if it's relating over the other forums, but was whether we're telling people to stay out of an area or anything like that. There have been times throughout the search, like the boat ramp, we asked people to stay out and we shut it down for a while and things of that nature. We don't have anything that's shut down at this moment. We would do that from time to time if there's something that we're concerned about for evidentiary value. What I would caution people on that are civilian citizens who don't have training and don't know necessarily the types of things we're looking for, the types of things that could get damaged by it, just caution people to be really careful. A foot ramp could become important. A tire track could become important. So the more foot traffic and things like that, we lose some of that. But at this point, honestly, we're looking for a car, we're looking for Kylie, potentially a phone. I'm not telling anybody to stay out of any area or anything like that. But I just want people to just be careful and conscious of what they're walking into and seeing.
Hi, I kind of have two questions in part based on something you just said.
Can you speak a little louder?
Yes, sorry, I have two questions now. Super appreciative of everything all of you are doing and all the resources that are being put on this, it's clear. But there was a little bit of a contradiction, I think, with the search and rescue gentleman that spoke, addressed a group yesterday about areas that civilians should be tromping on and looking in and which they shouldn't. Just throwing that out there. But mainly, I guess I want to just say that or ask, what search is going on outside of this area? What efforts are being put on the search outside of this area? Because it's clear a lot's being done in this vicinity, and some of it's treacherous terrain, and that's a huge, huge ordeal in and of itself. But given that we all know someone could have abducted her and jumped on Highway 80 and been out of state and could be halfway across the country by now. And there's no Amber Alert that has been issued, and I understand it's because it hasn't met the criteria of evidence that there was an abduction, but I would just like to know or understand a little bit more about that.
So just so we can understand, we have a two-part question. The first part is, what are we doing to search beyond this area, and why have we not yet issued an Amber Alert?
I understand why the Amber Alert hasn't been issued as soon, but yeah, the first part you have correct.
Sure. Okay.
In regards to where do you start searching? When you're in the search world, you have a area that you're going to search based on clues and objectives and ideas of where something is. And in this case, we're really focused on the point last seen because that's the last point that we know. What you're really starting to focus on, and you heard Sergeant Pat talk about the expansion and the amount that goes on, you're starting to get into a thing where you're not really searching like that area. You're now traveling roads and looking for, like, say, the car. And there are tools out there that are looking for the car. Law enforcement has all been notified of the car. Bolos have reached all over the place to be on the lookout for the car. We have people from the UK that are reporting on this case. I would say that if not the entire country, the entire world has had some tip on this case. The car is the easier target to locate, obviously, because it's larger, right? You would expect that you'd be able to find a car again, where I stood up here and apologized. I wish I could come and say that we found it. When you talk about expansion, and you're going to send people on countless days and hours, but just to search anywhere randomly with no cause, that's just not a responsible thing to do, and it doesn't give us any goals of where we're going. So I will say that there's tools out there, there's pieces in place to try to locate the vehicle, and as well as Kylie, and there's still in the background lots of investigation that's going on with what Lieutenant Barnard was talking about in the investigative world that hopefully will lead us to some clues and things like that. But to honestly just say, hey, where do you search? We are looking at, say, Stampede Lake, Boca Lake, and where do you stop? You look at the bottom of Tahoe, you look at wherever. Those aren't things that we can do. We are just people, just like everybody in this room, and we have the capability of tapping into certain systems and things that give us more resources to do things. At the same point, if you're thinking about it, we're probably sitting around the table talking about it, how do we do this, and there are exactly things like that. As far as the Amber Alert, as late as today, we're still attempting to push that system through, have that go out, but I'd still even remind people that it is out. Everybody knows. We're trying to put it out as much as possible. I know it's a bone of contention. We don't control the system, but we're trying to justify as much as possible the reasons of why we believe that it should be the system. And we agree with you guys. There's none of us that are disagreeing with you guys, but we're trying to work within a system that's designed and we don't control. And so we're doing our best to navigate that world.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Janine Lewis from Sacramento, California, and I am very curious to know where all of these people parked. And how was her car parked? Was it whipped in? Somebody answer that. How was the parking situation? And if somebody saw her park, and if it was boxed in, or if it was somewhere off the beaten path, or
So your question is how the car was parked and what cars were near it?
yeah.
Well, we're trying to piece all that together. We have digital evidence we're trying to recover from all the young kids that were at this party. So that question is on a list of about 1,000 others that we have that are probably equally all in your mind. As our partner said just a minute ago, if you think about it, we've thought about it, right? But we want those things shared. So when we piece those pieces together and they draw to conclusion points, we can put conclusion points together to draw inferences about what really happened. And right now, it's tough for us because we don't have a lot to go off of. So we appreciate your question, but it's an ongoing investigation. We're still trying to put all that data together. So thank you.
Deborah, she was next.
No. Let's go to the grandfather, and then we'll come to you, ma'am.
I came back from Herschel the other day, and the Caltrans sign beyond the bus station was turned off. It was blank. Why?
I see it, you should answer that one.
So the air brake, the California Patrol Trucking Commander. So the CMS boards are activated when Amber Alert is activated. That's the changeable message sign that you're speaking of. So since the criteria for Amber Alert is not been met, the message boards won't be activated.
Who's responsible for establishing that criteria?
California law determine the criteria for when Amber Alert and when it's issued.
What a waste of an asset.
Yes, you're here.
We're going to move on to this young lady here.
That's Mom.
Sorry.
Hi, I'm Mom. I'm pregnant.
Lindsay, do you want to stand up?
Hi. Yeah, this Amber Alert thing, you guys, it was frustrating. I was in,
I've seen these guys' faces a lot. We were in there, we were talking about the Amber Alert, we were talking about all of these things. There is nobody standing behind me right now that doesn't agree that the Amber Alert should have already been issued immediately. So they share all of our frustration with that. And so I know that it's this point and it's this question, you know, and it doesn't seem right. And so many times in life, things just don't seem fair. There's a lot right now that doesn't seem fair. But sticking on something that doesn't seem fair and continuing to just, you know, to not move forward isn't helpful either. So at this point, what I'm thinking, you know, if we all feel this way, and if they feel this way, there may be other people who feel this way too, and so maybe we can use this opportunity to, rather than keep on asking these guys, you know, we can go to our state legislatures, we can do things that might be actually more helpful and more effective in changing that, even if it doesn't change it today, even if it doesn't change it tomorrow or for Kylie at all. Maybe it could change it, you know, for someone else, and that can be a positive effect too. But please understand that the lack of any new information, the lack of any movement forward with this case is not for a lack of resources, it's not for a lack of want, it's not for a lack of determination from everyone who I'm looking at, from everyone who stands behind me, and from everyone who stands behind them. So, let's work together and let's focus on asking questions that will lead to positive results instead of focusing on questions that are, I'm losing it now. I have a lot of, you know, I don't have a lot of blood sugar.
Get some action down in Sacramento.
What's the link for the Amber?
Thank you.
I think the most appropriate answer, sir, to answer your question is to start with your local representative and your board of supervisors and respectfully bring these issues forward to them and maybe see some advice from them as to how you would proceed in something like this. So I think that probably is your best bet. Thank you.
In search and rescue, we have numerous resources in relation to Canine. They all have a different typing. So we use different types of dogs for different situations. And thus far in our investigation, we've been using what are called area C2 dogs. And those are dogs that look search an area for a person. And those are the type of dogs we have. We haven't been able to establish a trail to put a bloodhound on at this point.
I'm a student of the University of Nevada, Reno, and it's been reported that students of Reno high schools as well as UNR were in attendance at that party. Has there been any coordination efforts with Reno, Sparks Police, or with the university? We are in our summer session and taking finals tomorrow. Has there been any outreach to professors to communicate with their students?
I say simply yes to all of the above. We have reached out to those law enforcement agencies, and they've been working with us. Even in specific instances where we gain some information, we can coordinate and ask them to go check this lead. So yes, we've been working with them. I hope that answers your question.
Hi, mine's just a clarifying question. I was at the trailer earlier today and I did see the search area map and it did say to stay out of this area. So I'm just wanting to clarify based on what was on the map today, and is that going to be enforced tomorrow, just for people who just want to help?
So initially we had communicated with the private search folks to some areas that we were determining were high likelihood for evidence. And our search and rescue volunteers go through extensive training on recognizing clues, protecting evidence, so that a small footprint or something that can be the single thing that turns the tide in a search. So we initially were asking for some particular areas for private searchers to stay out of. We've since rescinded that.
Okay.
And the only place that we are based out of and that we're asking folks to stay out of is our ICB.
Incident command post.
Incident command post, for anybody who didn't hear.
As Lindsay so bravely said, that our goal is to move forward in gaining any information that will help us in the investigation of just collecting what most likely from the kids at the party. And so I think to myself, if I was a young adult with a cell phone, how do I know that my cell phone isn't going to get registered when I call up the tip line? That even if I'm not concerned as a teen about getting in trouble for any illicit drug or alcohol use, but maybe I'm concerned that I actually saw something that was foul play, and I'm afraid to get myself in trouble or tattletale on somebody else to get them in trouble. I know that sounds awful, but I'm just trying to think as a brain, as a teen.
Yeah.
You know, we're afraid of getting in trouble. That my phone number is going to be legitimately anonymous. That because we all know when we get spam calls all the time, it still shows phone number. So if we're trying to move forward and really encourage these kids at that party to come forward as much as possible with information, because that's your main resource, how can we, so to say, guarantee that, hey, look, you're going to call this phone number, or there's whatever anonymous ways that you think that there's some sort of foul play that you're not going to get in trouble with. We need you to come forward with that information. And that's what I'm wondering about the tip line there. Is it really truly anonymous? That's not registering a cell phone number to come back at them at this point if the goal is to bring her home safe and not get anybody in trouble. Thank you.
Complex question for sure, right? Because anytime you use a phone, there's some sort of trail or message. I think when we are talking about things like this, and we're talking about needing people to be brave and step up and stand tall when maybe something has gone wrong. But I understand what we're talking about because lack of trust and fear and things that go on. I don't know that you could ever guarantee 100% anonymity of anything. However, what I can say is that treating an individual who provides a tip that puts them into danger is going to be treated extremely significantly from law enforcement in protecting that individual. And if there's concerns or true, like, hey, how do I completely stay honest, there'll be some more information later today about a new tip line that will come out through an email system. And so maybe truly create an email address at the library and send an email from that or somewhere, things of that nature. But we're living in a digital world that has lots of connections. In this case, we lost connection with one person, and we need to be brave and stand up and do the right thing. If somebody's worried about anonymity or getting in trouble, I think that we're going to do the best that we can to provide that for an individual, even if they came in and talked to us. And we go to great lengths. We have lots of crimes that are investigated where people do not know who that person is. We have training classes to seal warrants to keep people there. However, if you're dealing on a high-end, real significant case, I don't know if you can guarantee any kind of anonymity like that. And the only way somebody keeps a secret is they don't tell anybody. And right now, we don't know if there's a secret or not. We're trying to encourage people to come forward that may have information. We don't have information that they have something negative either. So the message shouldn't be misconstrued that we think juveniles are running around with the key to success of this case. There really could be no information. But we need to get the word out there so that in the event that it is there, we will help protect people and keep them safe if they feel like they're in danger. And we'll do that to the best of our abilities. Whether they're juvenile or adult, we will do the same thing for them.
Did you have a question?
My question is, the night of the incident, and given the sheer numbers of participants at this party, were park rangers or the campground staff, did the concern ever rise to a point where they reached out for additional support, law enforcement support to come out and address that?
You guys are going to get really tired of hearing from me. Sure, I'm sorry. We checked in. I believe it was confirmed we had 0 calls for service. We did have a deputy, and I believe somebody from the U.S. Forest Service was actually in the area the night of, and nobody was diverted to that for any kinds of concerns or anything. It's not illegal for kids to go camping in the woods, and obviously there's information that maybe people are doing things and drinking, potentially some drugs and things like that. We're reassured everybody. At this point, we don't care about any of that. And in fact, any crime that's really committed outside of our presence, there's very limited amount of things that we can take action on. But I can tell you right now, we don't care. We just want to find Kylie. So whatever we can provide, but we did not have any calls for service regarding it.
Hi, my name is Nyla, and I've been volunteering at the booth outside the last few days. I just wanted to ask, because one of the main questions that we've been getting at the booth is that the tip line doesn't work. People keep telling us, I've tried to call the tip line and it doesn't go through, and that's been a very common question. So for us to know what would be like the secondary best option to refer people if the tip line's not working, instead of those tips not getting through. That's my first question, and then I have a second question. I haven't seen anybody really address in Spanish, the Hispanic community. Is that something that you are going to do? We did have a mother come and talk about how there might be undocumented families in the area, and we have a large Hispanic population who might be really fearful to come forward because of their family situation. And what would you have to say to them to give them the same security that you're giving every other student? Like, you're not going to get in trouble for drugs. Would you get in trouble? Would you get kicked out of the U.S. or something that could be like such a fear that somebody wouldn't speak to, and then also just addressing them possibly in Spanish could be useful.
Good question.
So to answer about the tip line, I'm not sure about that. I know that the tips are flowing in. So if someone does come in with that concern, there are alternatives. Obviously not anonymous, but if you do call one of our dispatch centers, Nevada County Sheriff, Truckee, Placer, that information, or they will get transferred or their information taken down to be given to a detective to follow up. I hope that answers your question.
I think these are your questions spot on, and this is a good reason for having a community meeting, is to not miss the target audience. we'll work on getting some of our flyers and things translated because it's a fantastic idea. As far as INS, there's a huge criteria to report somebody to ICE, which is the Immigration Customs Services and whatnot. I believe Nevada County's done like 0 of them. I think there's some requirements when somebody is incarcerated, but we're still not even turning people over to Immigration and Customs. We're not interested in that. We're interested in locating people, but I can't guarantee that if somebody was located and their information met that criteria that they wouldn't be deported or there wouldn't be some further action. I can't guarantee that because those circumstances could be seriously major and I wouldn't know that ahead of time. However, that's not our concern. Our concern is filing kindly. So for minor things and issues that people might be concerned about, most of the time, people who are here, whether legally or illegally, if they're not documented or they have family and things like that, they typically kind of know the rundown of what would get them in trouble or not. Or maybe they use a family friend that does have their papers and is squared away and doesn't have to, and that can be reported again anonymously through a third party. And they can always refuse to provide that information. And so I think there's strategies that maybe people can utilize that if they're really afraid. I had a lady yesterday come up to me and give me a third party information about an area to check. I wrote down the clue and the tip, and I basically did the same as the tip line would do. I fed it into the machine, and the folks that are tracking all the tips and everything let it in. It doesn't have to be where we're tracking everything. We want clues. So even if somebody calls up, yeah, we might have a phone number, but whatever, you can call from a store, you can call from a payphone. I mean, there's some drastic methods to take if you're really, truly afraid and need to be anonymous. I get that. If you saw something really gruesome, then I get that. I just want to say we don't have a crime scene of something like that either. I don't want people to immediately go down that awful role of humans and things like that. Somebody said it earlier, let's be positive and work towards a goal. If somebody knows something like that, I would sure hope that they would come forward. But we are looking for any and all clues, and including, if people aren't documented being afraid, there's methods I think they could utilize, and we'll work on translating some of our flyers.
I'd like to address real quick a comment that you made that I think is at the crux of this whole issue. When parents right, we take on a lot of responsibility, and as kids get teenage years and phones now, there's a lot of complications that I didn't have to deal with when I was young. If your child tells you, or your kid tells you, like, I think I have something not good, and there's also some things I might get in trouble for, that's risk. I would ask every parent to measure that to their loss right now, and put yourself in their shoes, and be courageous for them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you want to follow up with the tip question? My partner reminded me another alternative is the email address that has been set up. So if someone isn't able to get through the lines clog, you can refer them to the email address.
I just have a quick comment. For people who are feeling their fear, and if this is the case and they're afraid to come forward, one thing to also consider is that if there is a predator in our community that is facilitating this kind of behavior, that's a lot scarier. And that's something that we can all come together on. And I think that's something to consider as well, please.
Has it been determined if the invitation to this party was public knowledge or if it was a mass personal communication sent out?
So the question is whether or not there was one point of origin where the invite came out?
Can you determine if the public had access to this invitation at any point? Because I guess I'm kind of coming off of, I was at Truckee Thursday the Thursday prior, and I was airdropped invitations to an after party. I have no idea who sent those to me, but that's now a way to be invited to things. So I'm curious if there's been any determination on if people had to communicate with another individual personally, or if there was a Facebook post that came from it.
There was multiple invites via all means of media to this department. 10.1. It was multiple uses of media.
Hi. I think her questions and what's helpful but might not want to be disclosed is we all as a community have a lot of questions about what transpired. And people say, well, do they have cameras on Interstate 80? And did you see the car get on Interstate 80? And I think we all have faith that you are doing this sort of stuff. But as we, the public, will we ever it's just not our business until Kylie's found? Or are you gonna give us some crumbs of what you're doing so we can work through that as well?
So at this point, and I think we've been very honest and open with the family of where we are at with the investigation. There are some things that we cannot talk about because it might interfere with the investigation, but what we know is that Kylie's car after 12:33 a.m. has not been seen.
Has not been seen, okay.
So we are following up on every lead possible. If we get information that there was a silver car matching her description seen anywhere, we're following up with that. And then, so I hope that answers your question. It's not necessarily something that we're going to update the public on, but if we do have a big find, it's going to be something significant for us that we might be putting out to the public, yes.
Bear with me here. My name's Daniel Rodney, Kylie's father. I'm running on fumes here, so bear with me here. Something dawned on me this morning that, obviously our family has suffered immensely. I can't tell you what we're going through. But what dawned on me this morning is Kylie is born and raised here. She is this community. She is your daughter too, she is this is our community's daughter. She is no longer just our daughter. This is your kids. These are the parties your kids are going to. We need answers, and you need answers, because when your kids become 16, where are they going to go? My daughter's a straight A student. On her way to UC Santa Cruz, she is at 16. She's 16 going to college, This is Tahoe. This isn't supposed to happen here, We need answers. Remember, this Kylie is your child too. So please, anything, please, we need you.
If there's no further questions, I'd like to pass the mic to Cassie.
Hi everyone. I'm just coming to you from the civilian front, from the team Kylie that's been working over there at the base camp since Sunday. Thank you everyone for all the work that you've been doing and all your volunteer services. Thank you all. Thank you. you not as a good friend of the family. I come to you as a secondhand friend of a good friend of somebody. If that makes sense, decipher that. The reality is the way this community has come together, it is amazing. And I want you to know that we are going to be there every day from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. working and searching and answering questions and holding your hands while you are holding our hands. This is about hope. This is about that we keep moving forward, because one thing we know is when we sit and we are idle, what happens? Unless you're breathing and meditating, what happens? We get lost. So please, if you're like, I don't know what I can do, come down and say hi. Let us know that you're thinking of us. Do the social media pieces. Flyering, yes, we're going to have them in Spanish. Come down, flyer that. Flyer again where it's been flyered before. Maybe you saw it over here, but we didn't see it over there, and maybe it's only two blocks away, but we can flyer. We have people going all over the area, beyond Truckee, beyond Tahoe. We can do it again. Searching, that app that we have now, amazing, right? How many great gals and guys that have been on their motorcycles, on their feet, and walking through the forest and the trails and looking for something that lets us know that Kylie is coming home, right? That's what we're doing. Once, a million times is not too much to travel those roads. We have to travel lots of roads to find truth, and so let's find the truth. Let's find Kylie. So we have a team. We have a team. Say that, tongue twister, team. There are 5 significant teams that have been working on this case. They have been doing the social media. They have been part of the powerhouses of what we're doing. We also have an adult team. So let's not think that we are leaving our teens on our own to be able to figure out how we find Kylie. We are all here. We are all working, right? So Kylie's going to share what is happening next for the teens for tomorrow night.
So, hi. Here, give me a second. So, yeah, as she said, I'm Sammy. I am one of the leaders of a team. Yeah, it's a tongue twister, yes. We have had a great output. Yeah, yesterday when we had the Tahoe team-to-team. What a team-to-team talk is no parents, no media, no cops, no adults. It's just kids talking to kids. Your kids have best friends that are their ages. Your kids are comfortable talking to their friends. And hopefully what we're trying to do is that they can come to us and they can talk to us. They can tell us what they saw. They don't have to have the pressure of these cops. They don't have the pressure of the adults. They don't have the pressure of everything else that's going on. Something else could be going on in their life, but what's important is that they know that we are there to talk. We're not trying to get them in trouble. We're not trying to tell their parents on them or get them grounded or have the police on them. We can do completely anonymous tips. Everything helps. We've had a lot of kids say that, oh, I already gave out my witness statement. That's great. These are one-on-one interviews though. These can pop up, spark anything in your mind that you might remember. And these are crucial, and we have so much more evidence, many more things to work on based off of just our one in Tahoe yesterday. And what I'm here to talk about is that tomorrow, which will be August 11th, I believe,
yes.
we will be holding one in Incline. I want to make this clear that this is open to anybody that may have not gone to one yet. And you are welcome to come do Teen to Teens. Here at the rec center, we have everything set. Like, we can do Teen to Teens at any time. If you need me to drive out at 3 a.m. in the morning to meet you, I will. I will drive to people's houses. We can get you rides. We can get you there. We can talk to you anywhere you need. We just have set places so that there can be rally points. But this one's tomorrow, 8/11, like that's the date, will be held from 5 to 7:30. We can't stay later. We stayed out until 10 p.m. yesterday at Incline High School. So from 5 to 7:30 or later on August 11th, in Klein High School, we will have a team-to-team. This is open to anybody from Reno, South Lake Tahoe, Kings Beach, Truckee, anybody who needs to. That is the rally point for tomorrow for this. Again, I want to say that you are welcome to come out and talk to us at any point. I've been doing some today. I did some yesterday. I did hundreds yesterday. I've done everything, and we really just need every teenager to come out and talk. I heard that question earlier about the deportation and ICE and everything. I don't know you. I don't have to know you. I will act like I've never seen you once before in my entire life, even if you're my best friend. I will act like this is the first time. I will take your name to jail. If they try to question me for that, I don't care. I will not give up your name. Seriously, yeah.
Good job, Sammy.
Are there any more questions? Anybody? Who would like to? Oh.
Maybe I just wanted clarification using the app for doing the search. Maybe I misunderstood when I was at the motorhome. That are we getting assigned an area, the preference for us, or just go out and just look, period? That's, I guess, where I wanted the clarification on.
So on the app, all the data that's been collected from the time that the app was initiated, we're also collecting historical information for persons who had tracked themselves in previous days. That information is all available on that map. The greatest recommendation I would make is if you look at that map, you can see where people have not been. You have to look at yourself, you have to look at the situation. We have had incidents in the past where people have gotten themselves into areas and become hurt.
Yep.
And we've had to take searchers away from our search effort to go rescue them. So we want you to really look at those things and be honest with yourself if that's an area that you should be. But by looking at that map, you can see what areas need to still be checked.
But I presume since we are still looking for a vehicle, you would be looking where a vehicle could move.
So we're not going to rule out any scenario. We're looking for tiny items. We are looking for Kylie, and we are looking for a vehicle.
We'd like to conclude this meeting and
Okay, so just, I was negligent in thanking you all. I think everybody's here, I think everybody who's watching, I think everybody who's doing rights. I think you're right, I think, you know, the town and the community and, we're going to go a little bit, but just the support that we have received, from everywhere, from everyone, from people who we know and love and recognize their faces, you know, with our eyes closed to those who have never seen your face before. You're just a new dear friend. Thank you for caring so much about me, baby. Let's keep moving forward. It's your home, so
kind of hard to follow that up, but we do want to add that as of today, the Sheriff's Office has created a QR code for anybody who wants to submit photos or videos that they believe are pertinent to this investigation. We have set up a link on all of our social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, in addition to in-person QR codes. As a matter of fact, there's a QR code on a piece of paper on that table in the back, where we have Taylor Wolf, that county PIO, she's holding it up.
I will pull that.
So please, if anybody has any information or knows anybody who has any type of information that they think may benefit us in our investigation to bringing Kylie home to her parents and her family and her friends, please tell them we have multiple modes of reporting this. And do want to add that our Detective Sergeant Alford on the side over here is available to take any questions, or anybody who may think that they have a tip or any piece of information and they just want to pass it on, no questions asked. That being said, we will conclude our community meeting for this evening. Thank you so much. Good afternoon. My name is Angela Musalam. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Placer County Sheriff's Office. Before we begin, we'd like to remind everybody that we are limiting each reporter question down to 2 questions, please, for the interest of time. We really need to get our first responders back out to the search to fulfill their mission to help find Kylie. I'm joined today by multiple law enforcement agencies who we are assisting and who are assisting us. That includes the Nevada County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, the California Highway Patrol, and the Truckee Police Department. Our Placer County Sheriff's Lieutenant Josh Barnhart will be discussing the operational side of the investigation as it stands today.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to start with Kylie and her family and just say that we are continuing every effort and every lead possible to this point. We've been in communication with the family constantly, in-person meetings with them to ensure that they're receiving every bit of information possible. We've also been keeping up with trying to push out as much information as possible to the community, and we really thank the community for stepping up and helping law enforcement in this time. We've come together as a community here with our partners at Nevada County, the California Highway Patrol, the FBI, Truckee Police. The FBI at this point has dedicated almost 50 personnel to this search for Kylie. They are out actively searching, knocking on doors, going to businesses, recovering video. At this point, we've collected just a ton of information and video from gas stations, private businesses, private residences, ring cameras, etc. And so we're trying to decipher that information to make sure that we're picking up on any tips. Again, we'll refer the public to the tip line. Please, 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 if you have any further information for us, call that tip line and we'll follow it up. I'll open it up to any questions.
It's been now 5 days since she's been missing. What's the newest update that you can give us, and do you have any new leads at this time?
So we do not have any new leads, and that I can tell you is very frustrating for us. And so we reiterate that anyone that was at the party that night, please come to law enforcement. Please go to the tip line. It is anonymous if they want to remain anonymous. We can't urge enough that people that were there know something. If you know something, please say something, come forward about Kylie's disappearance.
Have a lot of kids turned in video from that night because they record everything these days?
Yes, there was a lot of video at the party. We've done a really good job of trying to collect that, as much of that as possible. That obviously takes time to review, hours and hours of time to review, but we're trying to narrow down the scope, and that if Kylie was seen in any of those videos, we are following up on it, yes.
We're going to continue on to the search and rescue portion of this investigation, which is one of the most important portions of the investigation. I'm going to introduce now Nevada County Sheriff's Office Captain Sam Brown.
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. I think to start off, I just want to emphasize that we're still in unified command with the Placer County Sheriff's Office, and we're trying to gather as much information as possible, and we're really thankful for our partners. Everybody's mentioned them before, and there's tons more agencies that aren't here present that are participating, especially in the search for Kylie. To date, we have about 3,000 man hours of searching that's gone on, and we're going to continue those search efforts going forward. We've had anything from air support, ground pounders, canines, UTVs, side-by-sides, boats, air support from the state, local, and even at times federal resources. And so there's been nothing held back resource-wise in an attempt to try to locate Kylie or any clues thereof. One thing innovative that the team came up with while we've been dealing with this is a way for the community, who has been extremely supportive and extremely interested in wanting to be participants in what's going on, and who are going out actively into the field and searching. Our team was able to create a map that will allow folks in the community who are going out to track their tracks, so that we can monitor and see those types of things and see if that adds some information. I'm not sure that this has ever been attempted before. We do have some concerns that it could shut down our system if too many people are logging on. So hopefully the folks that are logging on and uploading tracks are doing so justifiably and with good intention. Because if it doesn't work out, we would ultimately have to shut it down if it stops the progress or creates some problems. But those folks who have gone into the field or are going into the field on their own volition as citizens in the community, or folks who have come here to help out, there is a process that they can log on, gain access to the CalTopo app, and be able to submit tracks to our team who has some overhead and is able to review it and put that into our mapping process, but also allow us to keep going on with our professional searchers and the folks who are moving forward in business. Hopefully by tomorrow, we'll also have a system set up where folks who have gone out into the field already and maybe are using GPS and things of that nature to track their progress, will be able to upload that information and again help us to supply with, are we in the right direction? Are we searching the right areas? Have we covered somewhere? Do we need to cover somewhere a little bit more thorough, and what that looks like? And so it's more pieces to the puzzle. We're struggling with clues, and so searches aren't super successful if you don't have a direction of where to search. At this point, we have a point last seen, and we're expanding beyond that point last seen in a systematic way that hopefully is capturing right-of-ways and things that would make sense for somebody who is leaving the area. And we're doing the best that we can in an attempt to locate Kylie. Folks who have tips, again, I'll emphasize what was said by my partners. We need people to call into the tip line, provide information, and do a good job. We're extremely lucky here. We're in Nevada County right now. I know we're partnered with Placer County. I could probably say the same for their community as well, just because I've seen the folks that are coming here and it's a mixture. We're extremely lucky to have real positive, good community members that are coming together for the right reasons, and I think that's really important. We had some conversation earlier with local radio about what's going on in community, and that there's some what we maybe refer to as bad players on the internet providing bad information or antagonizing like certain things, and really I would just hope that people don't continue to do that, and that we're looking for how do we have the best progress and make some gains on this extremely difficult situation. And I know speaking for myself and for a lot of the folks on our team, it's tiring for law enforcement as well, and we want to be able to supply all the right answers, especially to the family, and it's hard to look somebody in the face and tell them you don't have those answers. So once again, I'd encourage the public, if people know something, say something, bring us forward some information, and until we get that, we're going to continue to go through clues and digital data and all those things to help move our search in the right way. And I believe we'll probably do some more Q&A at the end, but thank you.
Thank you. Ever since last evening, we've had a few developments that I'd like to point you in that direction. We'll be having a crew come out and bring out an easel containing several pictures that I will then discuss in detail. So if you look to my left, we have 3 photos. I'm going to start with the photo on the very right. That is the last photo of Kylie Rodney. She was seen just hours before she went to that party at the Prosser family campground, hours before her disappearance. This photo signifies exactly what she was wearing hours before her disappearance. You can see she's wearing not a black tank top, but a black bodysuit. She's also wearing a black studded belt, green Dickies pants, and black Vans shoes. This is what she was last seen wearing just hours before her disappearance. I'll point you to the first photo on the left. This is a photo that, this is a hoodie that was loaned to Kylie on the day that she disappeared. This item is of significance. We believe that Kylie was still in possession of this hoodie when she disappeared. And the photo in the middle is an actual photo of Kylie's vehicle. It's a 2013 silver Honda CR-V. We continue to investigate every single lead that comes to us. We continue to exhaust every lead. We urge the public to please, if anybody knows these 200 to 300 juveniles and young adults who are at the Prosser Family Campground between Friday evening and early Saturday morning, to please come forward. We have since set up an online tip line. That email is sheriff_tahoeinvesttips@placer.ca.gov. So if somebody is not comfortable calling anonymously, they can feel free to email us via our tip line. That is all the updates we have for today. We will make sure to continue to keep the community updated with the latest information possible on our social media accounts on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you.
Judy House 101.5. Where was this photo taken at? Where was that surveillance? Which location?
We are not releasing the location right now for investigative purposes, but it was a local business in Truckee at 6:08 p.m.
And the vehicle, what is the age of that photo?
That is a photo from the winter of her vehicle, and that is the most accurate description of her vehicle.
Thank you.
You've received hundreds of tips from the public. Within those hundreds of tips, no one has said that they've seen her leave the party?
To our knowledge, currently, no.
Do we know the last person to have seen her? I heard that somebody saw her around 12:40. Do we know who she was with, what her state of mind was? In the very last appearance of her?
Yeah, so our detectives are continuing to follow up on those leads. We don't have any solid answers right now. We are continuing to investigate that. Thank you.
A dog team was sent out this morning. Why today, and will you continue to send that team out in the future?
Sure.
Yeah, dog teams were sent out, but I believe they were also sent out on previous days as well. We're just exhausting any types of options, and there's various types of dogs, tracking dogs, evidence dogs, and unfortunately, in the needs of these things, we send out cadaver dogs as well to just cover all bases, because we're not putting anything off of the table. I didn't mention it earlier, but we have swimmers in the water literally looking for evidence and things like that on locations that we think might have something. And we're trying everything that we can. So there are human beings in the water swimming and coming back trying to provide intel based off of what they can see in the water as well. And so far still no clues that are ending up from those.
And so those divers and swimmers will continue in the next few days, to your knowledge?
Yeah, as long as we have a reason to believe that we're using that resource for the right way and with some purpose.
You said the searches have been unsuccessful. What's your new tactic moving forward?
I wouldn't say that they're unsuccessful. Anytime you're searching an area and you don't find something, you also are clearing an area that may not have something, so it's still purposeful.
Was sonar used in the lake at all in the search?
Yes.
It's mentioned that there's video of, within businesses that captured images of her. What exactly was captured? Was it her vehicle passing by? What did those cameras capture?
So the only known lead that we have currently is that photo right there up on the easel. This photo shows Kylie at a local business in Truckee hours before she disappeared, and that is the only solid piece of evidence that we have been able to find. Actually, it was a detective with the Truckee Police Department who was able to obtain that video.
Her house is pretty remote. How extensively has the road out to her house been searched and the area off that?
I'm going to have Captain Brown discuss that.
Yeah, the question was about how extensively has the road been searched, because it is pretty treacherous, if you would. It's been flown with hours and hours of helicopter. It's been driven with dirt bikes, patrol vehicles, you name it. We probably put it on the road, and today they're extensively, I believe, still working on a ground search through the same area.
Do you have reason to believe that she's no longer in the state?
I think we kept you at 3 questions. We're going to move on.
Sorry, my last one. Does this mean to think that at this moment you don't believe she ever went home, or she never went down that route? You believe she went somewhere else, or she never made it home?
We don't know. We're trying to find out exactly what happened, and at this point, we believe that someone knows, someone saw her, but they're not coming forward. So, again, we urge people to come forward. Again, we'll reiterate that we're not concerned about what was happening out at the party. Our only concern is to get Kylie back.
Now, you guys mentioned that the hoodie that's sitting right there was the hoodie that was loaned to her. By any chance, did that person that loaned her the hoodie see her before she went missing, or is there any other?
There's nothing in our investigation that has pointed to that.
Her best friend said before that she was the last person to speak with her. Has that been confirmed?
We continue to investigate and interview the people who last saw her to try and get more information. But so far, nothing has been able to lead us to Kylie.
The hoodie, is that believed to be what she's wearing? Is that what?
We can't confirm that. We just know that the hoodie was in her possession the day that she went missing. She was loaned that hoodie, yes.
Is there any way to track her phone?
Her phone has actually been turned off shortly after 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning, and it has been off this whole time. Any more questions? Thank you so much.